One day we were playing a game at West Ham, and my focus always used to be just about football, just about winning, just about beating the other team. And I used to froth at the mouth. And one day Ian Bishop, my partner in midfield on that game, he said, "Mark, you've got all stuff round your face." And Ian was a creative player, and I was the destructive player. And he used to be nice and flowing and calm and smile and relaxed, and I was the hyper-tense one. He was laughing about the froth round my mouth. And I looked him in the eye, and he said, "You know, why get it off?" And I said, "No, it's staying." And he said, and it was at the time that all those dogs were coming into this country, I think from America, all those rabid dogs that were biting people and wouldn't unlock their jaws. And he said, "You look like a mad dog." That's how it started. As a person, as a player, as a friend, was Julian Dicks. A unique character, a deep character, a lot more to him than meets the eye. Warrior, hardest man I've ever played with. Funny, crazy, mad. We used to take the mickey out of each other rotten, him more than me. I loved him. He was a big bully. If you were playing cards, he would come over and rip up the playing cards. If you was reading a paper, Julian would come over and just rip the paper up. And he'd throw it all on the floor in little pieces. And you'd look up at him and say, "Why did you do that?" And he'd just laugh. And you'd be playing a proper game of cards on a team bus with Julian, 4 of you on one of those tables, and you'd be getting towards the good part of it. And Julian would walk past and he'd rip the cards up. And the 4 of us would look at him and say, "What are you doing? Why did you do that?" And he'd just laugh and walk off. And I used to love it. I used to think it was fantastic. He did not care what anybody thought. And he just used to amaze me, and I used to look at him and wonder, what was his psyche? I've got to say the dirtiest one and nastiest one, all of them rolled into one, would have to be Vinnie Jones. I played against him when he first came off of being a bricklayer, as we spoke about earlier. And he used to elbow people off the ball before all the cameras were round at the ground. You'd only have one camera, getting the highlights, Premier League then, in those days. Corners, he would elbow you, he'd spit at you, he'd tread on your feet. Verbally, he would abuse, intimidate people. And with his little group around him, he was, and I've seen him since and we've laughed about it, had a chat about it. And, you know, I love him as well. Well, a lot's been made of that swimming in the river, and of course it is a little bit different, but it's only a basic principle of life. They were all stood there talking about it, they were all stood there thinking about it, and they were all stood there with fear, which is the same, exactly the same sort of things that you can go into a football match with. Trepidation, fear, worry, talk about it, think about it. Same as what you go into in a football match. So, you know, people have laughed, people have snarled, and I laugh at them, because if you ask the question of what it's about, there's a lot more to it in psychology than meets the eye. And everybody says, "Oh, you're mad, you're mad, you're mad," but underneath I knew the reason. I jumped in and I showed them. I had fear. I didn't like it. It was dirty, there was crisp packets, bottles, and it was filthy horrible in whatever month it was, in Hartlepool on a Friday afternoon. My players loved it. My players absolutely loved it. It made them laugh. It made them see that I was normal. It made them see that I was focused. It made them see that I would step forward, whatever's put in front of me, I will attack it and I will go through with it. My players won the next day 2-0, and we stayed up by 1 point that year at Brentford, having only lost 1 game in 9, when it looked like Brentford were certainties for relegation. No regrets about that.